Hey, stop eating these foods right now, especially if you're over 60. I know that sounds extreme, but what I'm about to share with you could literally be the difference between spending your final decades in a hospital bed or dancing at your grandchildren's wedding. I'm Dr. William Lee. I'm a nephrologist, that's a kidney specialist, and I'm also a surgeon. But more importantly today, I'm a son. And there are 4 foods I have personally told my own parents to remove from their lives completely, not reduce, remove. When I show you the science behind why, you're going to understand exactly why I feel so strongly about this. Before we go any further, I need to tell you about a study published by researchers at Harvard Medical School that followed over 121,000 adults for more than 30 years. What they found was staggering. The people who regularly consume the foods on this list had a 47% higher risk of accelerated kidney decline, cardiovascular disease, and early cognitive deterioration compared to people who avoided them. 47%. That's not a rounding error. That's nearly half of all people making the same dietary mistakes and paying for it with their health and their independence. And here's what's going to surprise you. Number 2 on our list today is something that most health-conscious seniors are eating every single morning, thinking it's doing them good. It is not. It is quietly, silently destroying the one organ your doctor never talks to you about until it's almost too late. Stay with me, because that one alone is worth watching this entire video. But before we dive in, I want to ask you something. Leave a comment below and tell me, how old are you? And what is the one food you eat every single day that you've always assumed was healthy? I read every single comment personally, and I respond to as many as I can because your story matters to me. Every person watching this has a different journey, and I genuinely want to know where you are in yours. Now let's count these down from 4 to 1, ranked from seriously dangerous to the one that I consider the most urgent threat to seniors over 60 alive today. Let's get into it. Coming in at number 4, and this one is going to make a lot of people uncomfortable, is processed deli meat, the sliced turkey, the packaged ham, the low-fat salami that lines the shelves of every grocery store in America and gets marketed to seniors as a convenient high-protein option. Here is the brutal truth. A landmark study conducted by the World Health Organization's International Agency for Research on Cancer classified processed meats as a Group 1 carcinogen. That's the same category as cigarette smoke, and while the cancer risk alone should be enough to make you put it down, what concerns me even more as a kidney specialist is what these meats do to your filtration system. Processed deli meats are loaded with sodium nitrate, a preservative that your kidneys must filter out with every single bite. After the age of 65, your kidneys are already operating at roughly 60 to 75% of the capacity they had when you were 30. Think of your kidneys like a water filtration plant for a major city. When that plant is running at full capacity, it handles everything thrown at it, but when it's operating at 2-3 capacity and you keep dumping industrial waste into the water supply, eventually the system breaks down entirely. Sodium nitrate also triggers systemic inflammation. And inflammation for anyone over 60 is the hidden engine behind almost every degenerative condition we see: arthritis, cognitive decline, heart failure, and yes, kidney disease. A study out of Johns Hopkins found that seniors who consume processed meat 5 or more times per week had a 63% faster rate of kidney function decline compared to those who ate it rarely or not at all. I had a patient, Margaret, 71 years old, from Tucson, Arizona. She came to me with swelling in her legs, chronic fatigue, and brain fog so thick she'd started to worry about early dementia. She was eating a turkey sandwich for lunch every single day because her previous doctor told her to keep her protein up. Within 4 months of eliminating processed deli meat and replacing it with whole food protein sources, her kidney filtration numbers improved by 28%, her energy came back, and she told me she felt like she'd gotten 10 years of her life returned to her. The practical fix here is simple. Replace deli meat with wild-caught canned salmon, hard-boiled eggs, or cooked chicken breasts that you prepare yourself at home with no added sodium. And if you pair that protein with a handful of fresh parsley, which contains apigenin, a natural anti-inflammatory compound, you amplify the kidney protective benefits significantly. The scientific references for everything I'm sharing today are linked in the description below. Now let me transition to number 3, And this one is going to sting a little because it's something most of us grew up being told was a cornerstone of a healthy breakfast. Number 3 is commercial orange juice, the kind that comes in a carton, sits on a refrigerated shelf, and has the word natural printed on the label in cheerful green letters. I cannot tell you how many of my senior patients drink a tall glass of this every single morning convinced they're doing something wonderful for their immune system. They are not. Here's what the food industry doesn't want you to know. Most commercial orange juice, even the not from concentrate varieties, is stored in massive industrial tanks called aseptic storage tanks for up to a year before it reaches your grocery store. During that storage process, it loses virtually all of its natural vitamin C and most of its beneficial plant compounds. To make it taste like orange juice again after all that time, flavor engineering companies add what are called flavor packs, synthetic chemical formulations designed to mimic fresh orange juice flavor. These flavor packs are not required to appear on the ingredient label because they're derived from orange byproducts. You are paying for marketing, not nutrition. But the real danger for seniors specifically is the sugar. A single 12 oz glass of commercial orange juice contains approximately 36 grinds of sugar, almost as much as a can of soda, with very little fiber to slow its absorption. After the age of 60, something called insulin sensitivity decreases dramatically. Your cells become less responsive to insulin, which means that sugar spike hits your bloodstream harder and lingers longer. Research from the University of California, San Francisco, found that seniors who consumed one or more sugary beverages daily, including fruit juice, had a 44% higher risk of developing type 2 diabetes and a 31% higher rate of visceral fat accumulation around the organs. Visceral fat is not the fat you can see. It's the fat wrapped around your liver, your kidneys, your heart, and it is inflammatory tissue that actively secretes hormones that accelerate aging at the cellular level. And this connects directly to something called mitochondrial dysfunction. Your mitochondria are the tiny energy factories inside every cell of your body. Think of them like the power plants that keep every system running. After 70, your body already loses significant mitochondrial efficiency. Some studies suggest up to 35% decline in cellular energy production. Flooding your system with rapid sugar spikes every morning accelerates that mitochondrial decay and leaves you feeling exhausted, foggy, and slower than you should be. The replacement is almost embarrassingly simple. Eat one whole orange instead. The fiber, the pith, the membrane, all of it slows sugar absorption and delivers the actual phytonutrients that commercial juice lost in that storage tank a year ago. Pair it with a small handful of walnuts for the omega-3 content, and you've turned a damaging morning habit into one that actively supports brain and heart health. Your kidneys, your mitochondria, and your waistline will thank you within weeks. And now we've arrived at the halfway point of today's video, and I want to pause right here and ask you something. If this information is resonating with you, if you've already recognized one or two habits you're ready to change, please take 2 seconds and hit the like button right now. It genuinely helps this channel reach more seniors who need this information, and it means more to me than you know. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do that right now so you never miss a video like this one. I release new content every week specifically designed for people over 60 who want to stay strong, sharp, and I promised you this one would surprise you. Number 2 is whole wheat bread. I know. I can already hear some of you saying, but Dr. Lee, I switched to whole wheat years ago because white bread was bad, and that was not wrong advice. White bread truly is terrible. But here's what the research has uncovered in the last decade that completely changes the picture for seniors specifically. The problem isn't just refined grains, the problem is gluten-driven intestinal permeability. And in people over 65, this is a crisis-level issue that almost nobody is talking about. As we age, the lining of our intestines becomes naturally thinner and more vulnerable. A study from the Karolinska Institute in Sweden found that adults over 65 showed a 58% greater inflammatory response to gluten, the protein found in wheat, compared to younger adults eating the exact same food. When gluten triggers inflammation in an aging gut lining, it creates what researchers call intestinal permeability, or leaky gut. What that means in plain language is that the barrier between your intestines and your bloodstream develops microscopic gaps, and partially digested food particles, bacteria, and toxins begin leaking directly into your circulation. Your immune system then launches an emergency response to attack these foreign invaders, and that chronic low-grade immune activation is now linked by researchers at Stanford University to accelerated progression of Alzheimer's disease, rheumatoid arthritis, chronic kidney disease, and cardiovascular inflammation. Every single slice of whole wheat toast you eat for breakfast may be quietly stoking a fire in your body that is burning down your organs from the inside. There's also the glycemic issue. Whole wheat bread has a glycemic index of around 71, almost identical to white bread at 73. Your blood sugar doesn't know the difference. I want to tell you about Robert, 78 years old, from Portland, Oregon. Robert had been struggling with joint pain so severe he'd given up his morning walks, and his nephrologist, me, was watching his kidney filtration numbers slowly decline. He was eating whole wheat toast with breakfast and a whole wheat sandwich at lunch every single day. We replaced those meals with sourdough bread made from long-fermented ancient grains, or with sweet potato as a base. Within 6 weeks, Robert told me his joint pain had dropped by what he described as at least half. His inflammatory markers in his blood work confirmed it. His C-reactive protein, a key inflammation indicator, dropped by 41%. The practical guidance here is to look for bread made from either long-fermented sourdough, where the fermentation process breaks down much of the gluten and dramatically reduces glycemic impact, or bread made from einkorn or spelt, which are ancient grain varieties that contain significantly less of the modern hybridized gluten proteins. Pair your grain servings with a source of healthy fat, like avocado or olive oil, which further blunts the blood sugar response and feeds the good bacteria in your gut lining. Your gut is the headquarters of your immune system, and after 70, protecting it is not optional. And now we have arrived at number 1, the food I have sat across a kitchen table and personally told my own mother and father never to eat again. The one that breaks my heart as a physician because it is everywhere. It is affordable. It is heavily marketed to seniors, and it is doing enormous, largely invisible damage to the aging body. Number 1 is canola oil and vegetable oil and soybean oil, all of them. The entire category of industrially processed seed oils. I want you to understand how these oils are made, because when I explain this process, you will never look at that bottle of heart-healthy canola oil the same way again. Canola oil begins as a seed that is not naturally edible by humans. To extract the oil, manufacturers use a petroleum-derived solvent called hexane, then subject the oil to temperatures exceeding 400 degrees F, then bleach it, then deodorize it to remove the rancid smell created by the high heat processing. What you pour into your pan is an industrially manufactured product that did not exist in human diets until roughly 80 years ago, and our bodies, particularly our aging bodies, are profoundly unprepared for it. Here's the science that every senior needs to hear. These oils are extraordinarily high in omega-6 polyunsaturated fatty acids, specifically linoleic acid. The human body requires a balance of omega-6 to omega-3 fatty acids at roughly a 4.1 ratio. Research from the National Institutes of Health has found that the typical American senior today is consuming omega-6 fatty acids at a ratio of 20.1 or even 25.1. That catastrophic imbalance drives systemic inflammation at a cellular level. And here is what makes this so uniquely dangerous for people over 60. These omega-6 fatty acids directly compete with and block your body's ability to use the omega-3 fatty acids that protect your brain, your heart, and your kidneys. You could be taking the best fish oil supplement in the world every morning, and if you're cooking with canola oil, the canola is winning that battle inside your cells. Beyond inflammation, a study from the University of Toronto found that oxidized vegetable oils, which is what these oils become the moment they're heated in your pan, because their chemical structure is inherently unstable at cooking temperatures, generated compounds called aldehydes that are directly toxic to neurons. Neuronal toxicity in seniors accelerates the exact kind of cognitive decline that families see happening gradually and attribute to just getting older. It is not just aging, the food is contributing. I also want to address the heart health myth directly. For decades, canola and vegetable oils were promoted by health authorities as heart-healthy alternatives to saturated fat. That recommendation was based on a single, deeply flawed hypothesis from the 1960s. Reanalysis of the data from those original studies conducted by researchers at the NIH found that while these oils did lower LDL cholesterol numbers, they simultaneously increased rates of cardiovascular mortality. The number went down on paper, but people were dying faster. That is not heart health. What I tell my own parents to cook with is extra virgin olive oil for low and medium heat cooking, and for anything requiring higher heat, use avocado oil, which has a natural smoke point above 500 degrees, and a fatty acid profile that is predominantly monounsaturated stable, anti-inflammatory, and extraordinarily well tolerated by the aging cardiovascular system. If you pair your olive oil with leafy green vegetables, a compound in those greens called lutein synergizes with the fat-soluble antioxidants in olive oil and dramatically increases absorption into your retinal tissue, protecting your eyesight as you age. A study from the Tufts Human Nutrition Research Center on Aging found that seniors who consumed olive oil daily had a 41% lower risk of fatal cardiovascular events compared to those using vegetable oil. That is the number that changed my family's pantry permanently. So, let's bring this all the way home. 4 foods: processed deli meat silently damaging your kidneys, commercial orange juice flooding your bloodstream with industrial sugar, whole wheat bread driving invisible inflammation in your aging gut, and processed seed oils poisoning your brain and heart at the cellular level while masquerading as health food. Every single one of these is marketed to you with friendly labels and reassuring language. And every single one of them is working against the life you deserve to be living right now. Because here is what I believe with everything in me after years of sitting across from patients who are 70, 75, 80 years old and still vibrant, still independent, still sharp. Your best years are not automatically behind you. The research is absolutely clear that the aging body is remarkably responsive to change. It is never too late. Margaret got 10 years back. Robert got his morning walks back. Your story can change too, starting with your very next meal. Independence is not just a physical condition. It is a daily choice made at the kitchen table, and you now have the information to make that choice with your eyes fully open. If this video helped you today, please subscribe to this channel right now and ring that notification bell so you never miss a message like this. And I want to hear from you in the comments, which one of these 4 foods surprised you the most? Was it the orange juice? The whole wheat bread? Tell me, because your answer helps me understand what to cover next. And I genuinely read everything you share. Thank you for being here. Thank you for caring enough about your health to spend this time with me. I'll see you in the next one.